but I think the springtime season is finally upon us here. It's getting a little bit warmer outside. The grass is getting greener. And if I'm not mistaken, you can even hear the birds beginning to chirp.
Yes. Well, they should. Tomorrow's opening day for Orioles baseball. And I think this is a day that people in this city look forward to, not only because it signals the beginning of the baseball season, which is something everybody counts on, but it's the time we start coming outside. Day games, night games, out into the warm air.
And enjoying what has become a completely different experience now from what it was like just 10 or 15 years ago. Remember, an Escape Frank and a bottle of National Beau was all you needed back then, but now you walk around, gosh, you can get nachos and Perrier water, and of course the players no longer have the baggy old flannels. They got the form-fitting, double-knit, nylon kind of mesh uniform. It's very chic.
Yes, very chic. However, you know, John, I know you're going to find this very surprising, but there are still a few things about the game that I don't totally understand.
No.
Yes, that still are a mystery to me somewhere. For instance, why do they call it a strike when you don't hit a ball? That doesn't make any sense. What's a squeeze? What's a bunt? What's a sacrifice? And how come they never eat the donuts that they keep in the dugout?
Now, there's a good question. And, you know, I think it's time that we took a little closer look at this great national pastime. The game within the game, all right?
All right.
All right, you like that?
Yeah.
The tools of the trade, the terms of the trade, the excitement. I can feel a musical cue coming on, as a matter of fact, because it's all in the game.
How does Sam Breakstone know when his sour cream is ready?
Not thick enough!
No?
Not thick enough!
Ah, yes, folks, this great American game of baseball has changed. What started out as a simple pastime for boys has turned into an occasionally comical pursuit for grown men. The game seems simple enough. Pitcher throws the ball, the batter hits the ball, the fielders try to catch the darn thing, and the runner tries to get safely home.
Well, yes, John, but as you know, it's much more complicated than that. The rules are confusing and often ignored, and the language itself could easily be considered a foreign dialect.
Well, Denise, maybe Pat Santarone, the Orioles groundskeeper extraordinaire, can clear up a few things. All right, Pat Santarone, after 20 years with 2 decades with the Orioles now for you, I suppose that at this point you've got to know everything, Pat, that there is to know about this baseball field.
I know almost everything there is to know about this baseball field. What I don't know, Weaver knows. And he won't tell me.
He won't tell you.
He won't tell me.
And he's not here. Do you know why this is called home plate, not home base?
No, I haven't figured it out yet. It's not shaped like a plate.
Nope.
What do you think about that shape?
I've always wondered, because the way I look at it, we got a 5-sided object here. Couldn't it just as easily be done with a triangle or even a square?
Or a circle?
Why 5 sides?
I don't know why it's shaped like that. You know, Abner never told me a thing.
This, in all the post-game celebrations in New York, when you see the animals come down the field after somebody went to the World Series, and they're ripping up the grass, and they're ripping up the bases, this is always the prize object. If you can get the home plate from the ballpark of a World Series winner, but I got a feeling that's not real easy to get out the ground.
For 2 reasons. Number one is nailed to a huge block of wood that's buried maybe 10, 12 inches in the ground. And number 2, I got my biggest gorilla down there, stands on it. As soon as the game's over, he stands on that and defies anybody to come get it.
You know, one of the most interesting things that I think happens in this area every game is before the ball game, your grounds crew comes out and they diligently lay out the foul lines and they lay out the batter's box and the umpire's box. And what happens the first time a guy comes at the bat, he gets to kicking at the dirt, and there go all these lines that your guys spent all that time laying out. Why do you even bother anymore?
I wish I knew that. Cal Ripken's the #1 culprit. He comes out, and the first thing he does is take the line out. And the umpire says, "Hi, Cal, how's everything?" "Fine, thank you," and he takes the line right out. And if he don't get it all, the umpire takes it out. So, I mean, what the hell is he putting the line in there?
They should make a rule about that.
Sure they should.
Still kicking the line?
I keep telling the umpires, leave the line there. And they said, "Why don't you be groundskeeper? We'll be umpires. I won't take care of your field. You don't take care of the umpire."
That sounds like a fair deal.
Now, how muddy can this area get? It's a little muddy today and still be regulation, still be playable.
We made it a little bit muddy so that when we roll it, it'll get harder. And you know why we want it hard right there?
No.
Take a guess.
So the catcher doesn't slip.
No.
That's a guess.
Did you ever hear of a Baltimore chop?
The Baltimore chop.
That's not a dance. The Baltimore chop isn't a dance. It's a, if the guy hits, we got some guys now that's going to hit ground balls, and we got a couple of guys that can fly. They run pretty good. Our left fielder, center fielder runs pretty good. And if I can get him to hit that ball on the ground, especially off a guy like Tommy John or something like that, that throws a lot of sinker balls, before the third baseman or shortstop can get that ball, they're across first base.
Why is it the Baltimore chop? You originated it? Our players are more prone to hit that way?
I don't know why. I don't know why. I think it was back in the old International League days. Somebody called that a Baltimore chop, and then maybe that happened, and they didn't call it anything, and then they're playing somewhere else, and the same thing happened. They said, there it is again, the Baltimore chop.
Like the Texas League fly ball. You know?
Why do they call that a Texas League single?
Because one time somebody in the Texas League hit and said, oh, I remember a shot like that. How's that for a theory?
Baseball lore.
Let's take a walk out to the mound now. I'm sure there's some interesting stories out here.
Oh, yeah. Let's go out here where it all starts.
This is where it starts.
This is where it all starts, and nothing happens until this big guy on this mound gets the ball and throws it. So looking at some of these pitches today, they take so darn long on this mound between pitches, it looks like they're afraid to throw the ball.
They need a shot clock.
What I want to know is, what about all the stuff they're spitting all the time up here? What does that do to the dirt on this
They
mound?
do spit a lot.
I know they do.
And you think they're spitting at the batter or something, you know? Or maybe it's a nervous itch or some darn thing, the way they spit. But you come out here in the morning and you see all these big brown spots down there, tobacco. And then a guy will take his chewing gum and chewing tobacco and make them big balls he chews on. And then he puts that down there, and it dries up in the sun, and it gets kicked over there, and you hit it with a lawnmower, and it sounds like you hit a train or something.
Oh, my. One thing that's always interested me, and I guess that it probably goes back to part of the history and the tradition of the game, but we're talking 60 feet, 6 inches from the pitcher's rubber to home plate. Where'd the 6 inches come from? I mean, 60 feet wasn't good enough?
I don't know how they arrived at that, but it happens to work just about right. It works just right. If you took that 6 inches away from him, his fastball is just 6 inches faster,
right,
and nobody get around on it. And if you added another 6 inches, the fastball would be a foot slower, and then they hit them all out of the ballpark.
Now,
So I guess they experiment enough with that, so that the only guy that takes advantage of that is a guy like Nolan Ryan or somebody that blows the ball. But I think that must be the reason.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, that it was Amos the Hoosier Thunderbolt Russi who was throwing such a fastball. But yeah, it was before the turn of the century. He threw such a fastball.
Let me hear you say it again.
Amos the Thunderbolt Hoosier Russi threw this
You
fastball.
didn't just make that up, did you?
No. And it was 50 feet in those days. And he threw such a fastball, the catchers were having a real hard time catching those balls, so that's when they made it 60.6 inches, I think. I think so.
Live and learn, as I always
Are you
say.
trying to be an umpire or something? You and that other lady?
No, I think that's true.
All right,
There it is.
third base, that's it.
A lot of people wonder how that's put in the ground. Pick that up, Denise, and see how easy it comes out of there. Lift it up.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Ah, come on, Coach.
Wait a minute. Hold it right there. Watch it.
Oh,
Are
well,
you
come
serious?
on.
She was really grunting like that.
I was.
I thought you were
You
putting
must
it
have
out.
twisted it a certain way.
Wow.
That's magic.
That's the way
It's magic. That's the answer. How'd you do? Press it on the side?
Yeah.
Okay, for all you people looking for a souvenir after the Orioles win the World Series, when you go to steal third base, press in on the side.
And then go to the mortuary and see John.
And then try to outrun Pat
So if you
Sandra.
fall on it, you're not going to hurt, right? Is that why?
If you slide properly, you won't get hurt. But I've
That's
seen
why it's
people get
rubber.
hurt no matter how soft it
Why
is.
is it raised?
Why is it raised off the ground? How else would you stop your slide?
Aha.
Hey, did you know that?
Try sliding.
I
Show
haven't
me how
done
you do
a whole
that.
lot of sliding in my time, you see, Pat, so
You ought to do it
I
and
don't have a lot of
demonstrate, right?
experience.
Now, talking about Oriole magic, there's certainly been a whole lot of magic take place in this area of this ballpark over the
Boy,
years.
has there ever. Little Brooksy here.
Right.
How you going to ever match that guy?
I guess a lot of people spend a lot of time trying to figure out what the greatest Brooks Robinson play of all time was. What was your favorite?
The same one everybody says, the one in the World Series where you had the went way over foul territory, you got the ball and threw the guy out. Who was it? That was Johnny Bench, wasn't it? No, it wasn't Bench. It was
Gentlemen, that was Lee May. Now, how would I score that? A grand slam, perhaps? Don't go away. There's still plenty to learn when we return.
What's the future of baseball with regard to surfaces? Do you see the artificial turf eventually being the predominant substance that's used in Major League ballparks? Or do you see eventually we're going to go back to the real thing?
I don't think you'll see many more artificial turf. I think that's the way the game is meant to be played on grass, not on that carpet. I mean, everything about the carpet's artificial. Batting averages, ERAs. You get a big high ERA on what normally would be a double play ball, it's a base hit. These guys get triples. You've never seen so many triples. On ground balls that go by the shortstop, it's a 3-base hit. No, that's not right. That's artificial as hell.
What is the outer limit that you've ever seen or heard of a groundskeeper going to? I mean, have you ever heard of a guy trying to shorten up the base paths because he had guys on his team that could run or go into
No, but you know what's really funny? I may be the only field in the big leagues that's got the proper distance between the bases. What do you think it is?
90 feet.
To where?
Home to first, first to second, second to third.
To where? Where do you measure to?
Probably from the center of the bag to the center
Everybody
of the bag.
says the same thing. Wrong. Wrong. Want me to tell you why?
Okay.
Look in the rule book, and it specifies in the rule book. I don't understand why I'm the only one who can interpret this darn thing.
Who's right, man?
It says in the rule book, the infield shall consist of a 90-foot square. Think about that now. 90-foot square. The bases shall be entirely within the infield. Now, if it's got to be within the 90-foot square, sure the hell can't be 90 feet to the middle of the base. So Nestor Shylock, when he was living, the umpire, I told him, Nestor, do you ever measure? He said, what do you mean measure? I know how far. I said, where is it, Nestor? He said, right in the middle of the base. I said, no, it isn't. Oh, we got in a violent argument. I got the rule book. I said, what does that say? He said, you trying to tell me I can't read? I said, no, I don't think you can. You interpret it. You tell me what I got to do.
So you're telling me that most ballparks, if they're measured center of the bag to center of the bag, that those base paths then would be a little shorter than the actual 90 feet.
A lot shorter.
No wonder Ricky Henderson
feet.
stole all those bases.
88 feet and 7 some inches.
I'll be done.
So they're not running 90 feet at all. And if they are, the bases are in there wrong.
This is the third base coach's box, you call it?
Box.
And this is when they stand here and do all this sort of fancy talk with their hands, right? And there's signaling going on, doing here and here.
And most of it is false.
It is.
Most of it don't mean a darn
Oh, it's to
thing.
mislead people.
Sure.
Ah.
Unless the coach gives the batter or the base runner an indicator. And the indicator can be any sign. If he can give all the signs in the world he wants, and if you don't do this or that or whatever, it don't mean a thing. And they change the indicator every inning, or they change it sometimes between pitches, you know. And when the other team, especially, they think they got the sign, there's a surprise bunt sign on, all of a sudden you see the first baseman charging in there, and something's wrong.
Dad, I want to thank you for your time, sir.
Yeah.
You're very welcome. It was fun. Thank you for being with us.
Okay.
Coaching certainly is an integral part of this game, but there are a few tidbits to consider here, such as how come the manager is a manager and not a coach like in other games? And why does he wear a uniform when he never plays an inning? I've never seen a football coach on the sideline in shoulder pads. This tradition apparently grew out of the days when coaches not only managed but played as well. And now for a few tools of the trade.
Those I recognize.
Can't play baseball without sunglasses, can you? You know how to do these? You'd look better in these than I would, I think.
What do you just put them around your head? Okay.
Okay?
Yeah?
Then when you want to look up. You can see the ball coming, and if it's in the sun, what do you do?
Put it down!
There it is!
What do all the
Big
players
up
wear
next.
these?
No.
Or just to catch it?
Infielders mostly. Some of the outfielders wear them also. Catcher's glove. Okay? More heavily padded than the others, because obviously he's catching objects coming in 90-some miles an hour. You'd look good in this.
Yes.
You'd look good in this. Let's try this one on. The fun we're having. Okay, come on. Put your hand in there. All right.
Only the catcher wears any sort of chest plate, right?
He's the only one that they put through this sort of humiliation. Now, the umpire wears something like that underneath of his jacket.
Why is that?
Because he's back there, ball's bouncing off of him.
Oh, the umpire that's behind
the home plate
right.
umpire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, second and third base umps don't have to worry about it.
Rosin bag. Same principle as the pine tar, right? Get the hands so they don't slip around the bat.
Without defacing the ball. And this is a batter's rosin bag, which
It's like gymnastics, same thing.
Sure. Gosh, I remember in the '68 Olympics when I was in Rome, we used this stuff. Yeah.
And this is the infamous donut,
That's it.
right?
And of course, you know what that's for.
Yes, it's to make the bat heavier so that you practice with it and you get stronger and you can hit better when you get up the plate. Right?
Does it work?
Well, I haven't been working out with mine yet. The season is just beginning.
That's right. And here, of course, is a
Slugger, Louisville Slugger.
Is a
Outfitted fungo.
It's a
And that's
fungo.
the fungo.
That's
Box.
the fungo, yeah, well, the fungo circle.
Circle.
Cut out right by the plate. A lot of people
Wrong
say,
shape, right name.
right, you were on the right track. A lot of people come out and they say, boy, the batting circle is, or the on-deck circle is awfully close to home plate. Well, that's the fungo circle.
Fungo circle.
And you'll see...
Why would they call it fungo?
Because it's fun.
Oh,
And after it's over, you go put the bat away, thus the name fungo.
Yeah.
All right, Denise, you old knuckleballer, you. I want to talk about some of the contradictions in this game, because while it is a superbly logical game in many respects, there are also some contradictions.
Yes, one of them I think I know about. This is the foul line, right?
That is the foul line.
And yet, although a ball's over here, it's foul. If it's here on the foul line, it's fair.
That's
Makes
correct.
no sense.
They should call it the fair line.
Yes, they should.
But they don't. They call it the foul. I guess it's like tennis. A ball hits on the line, it's in. Hits outside the line, foul ball.
Rules.
Makes sense. Why don't they call it the fair line, though?
I don't know.
And this is another thing here with the foul pole. They call it the foul pole, right?
Uh-huh.
Why do they call it the foul pole? You know what happens if a ball hits it? Well, for one thing, it comes bouncing back.
Yes?
For another, home run. Touch them all.
If it hits the foul pole, it's a home run automatically?
Would I tell you a
I
false
bet they aim for that foul pole, don't they?
Well, that would be a good trick if you could hit it when you wanted to. But that's right. You hit the foul pole, it's a home run. Just a couple of things that make no sense in this game.
If I'm not mistaken, Memorial Stadium used to be called Municipal Stadium, 30s, 40s. And then I think it was around 1950, and Tommy D'Alessandro, who was mayor then, threw out the ball, and they renamed it Memorial Stadium.
Been a lot of changes in this ballpark since then. For one, the scoreboards are up, and they say that has helped turn this into a hitter's ballpark. That before, when the wind would blow in, the ball would hang up in the air and not get out as quickly. But now it jumps out of here about as well as it does any place in the big leagues. But this is the bullpen. You know where the bullpen got its name? Why
No, I don't.
Bullpen. Well, that's why we're here, to find out this neat
Well,
stuff.
tell us,
I've
please.
researched this, and the best that I can come up with is back in the days when Major League ballparks looked very much like minor league ballparks, and there were sponsorships on signs around the playing field. Bull Durham Tobacco would always buy the sign, which was right by the area where the pitchers would warm up, figuring that would be an area that would receive a lot of attention during the game. Their sign would be seen a lot. So eventually it got to be called the bullpen because Bull Durham always bought that sign and was prominently displayed, or so the legend goes.
So let me get this straight. A foul ball can be considered a fair ball, and a bullpen can have a Martinez and a Mesa, but it doesn't have to have a Matador. You can be in the clubhouse or in the field, on deck or in the hole, or on the mound or in the bullpen, in the outfield, or out in the infield. You can be on base, in the box, on the line, or in the stands, but you may not want to end up in the dugout.
Denise, I think you're starting to get the hang of this game. Well, here we are at the end of 9 innings of fun and frolic on It's All in the Game tonight. I've had fun, and you know, I even found out about Amos the Hoosier.
Thunderbolt Rosie! Yay! I taught you something, and you taught me a lot, and that means that I'll bring more to the game. However, you've also told me that no one can ever know all that there is to know about baseball.
That'll be tough.
It's an extremely complicated game. One thing, however, I'm going to try and keep in mind this season, because we get a little down on the team. Do you know that the Orioles have hit more grand slams than any other ball team in the last 7 years?
Is that right?
That is right. Our Orioles.
They specialize in the big play.
Well, yes, so they store it up.
So when times get hard, think long ball, baby. Send one out of here. Touch them all. All right, we've had a great time with the show tonight. Thank you very much for being with us for It's All in the Game. And coming up tomorrow afternoon, out here on 33rd, we'll see you at the ballpark.
That's right. Good night.